is Jennifer Schuetz. I'm the science coordinator for the Bosque Ecosystem Monitoring Program. And I am based in Albuquerque, and I apologize for my, is that not working?
We're just playing musical microphones here.
Oh, yeah, that does have a red. Okay, can you hear me now? Good, yes, I can hear. So my name is Jennifer Schuetz. I'm the science coordinator for the Bosque Ecosystem Monitoring Program. We are based in Albuquerque, New Mexico, and you can see our website. We do a lot of monitoring of ecosystem health along the Rio Grande, and when we refer to the Bosque, we refer to the whole riparian area along the Rio Grande. And we actually use K-12 kids and UNM students to perform hands-on science and collect a lot of our data. And this way we're doing citizen science and we're providing a lot of useful information. Next slide. Bosque Ecosystem Monitoring Program, or BEMP, is a coordinated effort between the University of New Mexico Department of Biology and Bosque School, which is a private school that focuses on environmental curriculum. Our focus is science education and stewardship. Again, we're using the K-12 kids to gain hands-on science knowledge and learning about their local ecosystem and providing useful information to data users while being stewards of our natural resources. We have been working for 17 years and, again, hopefully providing useful data for anyone who needs our data. It's actually online, and you can access that at any time. Next slide. We have 27 sites that are located between Oque-Wingay Pueblo. We have 3 Pueblo sites. Oque-Wingay, further south is Santo Domingo, and the next one south is Santa Ana Pueblo. And Oque-Wingay is near Espanola. We have 13 sites in Albuquerque. These on the far corner are Albuquerque sites that range throughout the whole city of Albuquerque. And then we have several located just immediately south of Albuquerque in Bosque Farms, Las Lunas, 6 in Belen, and 2 near Socorro. And then we have one that is down near Las Cruces on the very southern edge of New Mexico. Next slide. BEMP is a very small organization. We have 7 staff members at most. A lot of them are part-time. We have our founder, Dr. Cliff Crawford, and our co-directors. We have a science coordinator and a science co-director and an education co-director. They work together, and then I'm the science coordinator. We have an education coordinator. We both have some assistants. We teach a class at UNM, a 400 and 500 level biology class that has about 20 students per semester. So all year we might have about 60 students that we train in our data collection efforts, and they are our data quality control people, so that not all of us 7 staff members can make it out to our 27 sites each month when data are collected. So our UNM students go out there with the K-12 kids and students. So that's our group, and then we work with elementary, middle, and high school students. We have a number of different schools that we serve: home schools, private schools, charter schools, tribal schools. So we try to be all-inclusive. Next slide. So once a month, at every single site, we are collecting depth to groundwater at 5 different wells. We have 2 rain gauges, one in the open, one in the canopy. We collect Litterfall in bins so that we look at the different plant species. We look at seeing through the 17 years how the plants are changing. And a number of our sites people have already done kind of exotic removal. So we are looking and seeing how does the salt cedar recover after removal, what happens, what is the success of pole planting cottonwoods. And a number of the other data sets that we collect are groundwater chemistry, fuel load, what's the fire potential of our sites, bugs, and what kind of indicator species we get, and then a number of other data sets, river chemistry, and finally we just started the Tamara's leaf beetle collections last summer. Next slide. This is the basic site setup. We've got the center well in the middle of our site and one in each cardinal direction, 10 vegetation plots, and botanists collect vegetation data each year. These little circles are the leaf litter bins, 20 pitfall traps, those are the numbers. So we try to randomly locate them throughout the site vertically, and trying to provide a basic plot to look at ecosystem health at each location. Next slide. Here are some of the kids collecting the data. They've got to look at the inches and the millimeters of the rainfall, and we focus on very simple data collection methods. Simple and low cost. Next slide. So the kids are out there collecting data. It's really good information, and we want to provide people who are actually managing our natural resources with useful information, such as, is this a site where pole planting cottonwoods is a viable alternative? You know, our cottonwoods are dying, not being restored, not being replenished in the Middle Rio Grande. So what areas have a shallow enough groundwater table to support cottonwoods, and what areas are we seeing cottonwoods dying, and maybe we'll see a lot of wood falling in our leaf litter bins. So we collect a bunch of different data, and we look and see what's the state of the ecosystem and what parameters are related, showing dry conditions or depth of the cottonwoods. Next. So here's a site through the past 6 years, or 06 to 12, declining groundwater depth. But what is the main influence of groundwater depth? You've got to also look at the river. So the next slide shows the river, and you see we had a lot of low years at the beginning, early 2000s. We had some mid to high water years where groundwater was doing okay, but the past several years groundwater has been declining, as well as river flow has been pretty low. Next slide. Some of our sites are actually stable groundwater-wise. They're not increasing or decreasing. And the next slide. And some sites are increasing. Groundwater depths are increasing. This site and one other site are actually located just above the drinking water diversion dam in Albuquerque. So what's happening is that groundwater is building up upstream of the dam. But some of the sites that are stable are actually south of the drinking water diversion dam. Next slide. This provides some information on some of the data we get from our Litterfall. The green show our native leaves, and they've been doing fine, pretty standard. Exotics, this purple, you can see this one clearing event, but are our exotics gone? Nope. They're slightly decreased, but they're just about the same after clearing. So it wasn't very effective clearing. And reproductive parts gives you an idea of ecosystem health. Do the trees have enough energy to put into reproduction? And again, wood, these maroon bars have been increasing as this groundwater depth has been declining at that site in recent years. Next slide. And again, some of the data that the kids collect is the precipitation, and this just shows a lot of the trends. Some sites, you know, the Albuquerque, the official rain gauges at the airport, and so it's nice to have localized rain gauges because the rain varies on such a micro scale in Albuquerque. So you can see how much rain we're getting, and interesting enough that most of our rainfall falls, the greatest amount is in August. And next slide. Another thing I do with the UNM students and with the kids is looking at the woody debris, the dead and down fuel. So you can see in 2008 we had some sites with pretty high woody debris, but then the city, these are a number of sites located just within Albuquerque. The city has decided to focus on reducing fuel loads. So in 2013, much lower fuel loads, and one of the sites, HCC, still has high fuel loads, but they have lined the trail with cottonwood with the cottonwood trunks. So what do? You got to count them, but it's still a pretty low fuel load at that site comparatively. So next slide. Finally, this past summer we instituted the Tamara's leaf beetle collections. We looked at every single site that actually had salt cedar. Several of sites that are in white circles actually did not have any tamarisk present. And we ended up finding them at most of our sites, all but 3 of our sites. You can see the 3 that are in green. We did not actually find them last summer. Next slide. We performed 5 sweeps per tree, and we just emptied the samples into a Ziploc bag rather than counting them right there and then, because we did not have the time to process the samples in the field. All we could do is collect them, put them in bags, and then put them in the freezer. Then we also got a photo of the tree at specific locations. We sampled 5 trees per site. And then once we're back in the lab, we counted all of the contents under a microscope, and we looked at specifically tamarisk leaf beetles, the larvae, the tamarisk weevil, the leafhoppers, and spiders and ants. And we actually did not find any obvious relationships between abundance of any of these insects. But we got a lot of no captures this year, so after this year we will be, we'll have more data and we'll see if there are any other relationships. And I want to point out, Rowan Converse has a poster on spread of tamarisk leaf beetle, and she did a lot of work on this set of data, and she's here with a poster. So please go check out our poster and talk to her about her project on the tamarisk leaf beetle. Next slide. So here are the abundances, with May being in red. We got a little bit. June in green. We got a little bit more. This is Santo Domingo's, our furthest north site, north of Albuquerque. July, the abundance actually shifted to 2 sites in the middle of Albuquerque. And then August, Santa Ana just had 550 or so, just swarming with the tamarisk leaf beetles. And next slide. Here are some of the photos. This is at the site where the tamarisk leaf beetles hit first, so it had the greatest amount of defoliation. May, June, there was a little bit of impact to the trees. In July, you could see visibly more visible defoliation, and August, the trees were really hit hard. And next slide. So to give you an idea, a lot of data. We have 27 sites in a very long wide range of sites, 7 staff members. We work with about 45 teachers in classrooms throughout the year, about 60 UNM interns, and all the different data that we have, the groundwater depths, precip temperature, litterfall, arthropods. All of this data, again, are on the web if anyone ever wants to use it. And feel free to find me over the course of this conference. And next slide. These are our partners and funders. Without them, we could not exist. And again, this is a way of collecting a lot of good information with little money and lots of hands. Thank you very much.
couple questions?
Did you see Tamara's affiliation at all? At most of your sites, it just was very hard to answer.
We really, the question was, do we see defoliation of the tamarisks at all of our sites, or just the worst ones? Really, just a couple of them we saw defoliation. It didn't hit only the ones that were really hit hard by the beetles.
Do you know if any of these state or federal agencies are actively using the data that you guys have been collecting? It seems like it's a great database.
Yes, yes. Our funders are Corps of Engineers. They use a lot of our data. Bernalillo County, Open Space, City of Albuquerque, pretty much anyone and everyone. Bureau of Reclamation, Middle Rio Grande Conservancy District, lots of state, federal, and local agencies. Yes, and university students.
I think that's it. Thank you.
Thanks.